start with that Ashwini Vaishnaw tweet saying that he's switching to Zoho Work Suite.
Definitely, we are very happy, and after 20 years, getting recognized in India, right? So that's a really proud moment.
We're in an AI era, and you take over at a time when, once again, the obituaries are being written about SaaS.
We are looking at AI as an enabler, and with AI, it is going to be like we were only consuming. Now everybody is going to become a creator.
You know, at the heart of Zoho is this culture of innovation, experimentation. One of the reasons why you choose not to go public. No temptation at all as you see companies listing to go to the public markets at all?
No, definitely no, right? Because
why? Do you think it will stifle your ability to innovate and experiment?
we want to focus on building the talent pool, investing in R&D, right? So experimenting, we enjoy the process of building. We are not obsessed about, what is our growth? So that's why we have organically grown all the products. Every product is built from the ground up. We are able to do all this because we don't have those pressure.
Zoho runs on Zoho.
Zoho runs on Zoho, right? All our employees say every day we use only Zoho.
There seems to be a lot of pressure on Indian IT companies to go out there and do acquisitions in the AI space specifically, because the feeling is the first mover will get the advantage, that it may in fact end up being a winner-takes-all market.
At least from our own existence and success, you can see winner have never taken all. We don't over-promise, we want under-promise and over-deliver. Whenever we see some mistakes, we never punish those mistakes. The accountability should be only in terms of what the effort they are putting in.
I remember you said that you don't compete for talent. Your effort is to create talent.
If you look at the Zoho Schools experiment itself, from the beginning, so we used to hire freshers, and then we used to have these incubation programs because we accept the fact that, in a 1 hour interview, you can't find out who is who is good. The first batch student who attended the Zoho Schools is now heading our Saudi Arabia operation.
What has been the biggest learning from Sridhar Vembu?
The whole management state, how much giving autonomy to people end up in creating so much more.
One thing you haven't learned from him though is being on social media.
I prefer to be a private person.
Sometimes him being very active could get in the way of the company as well.
But being private, yes, we do get that freedom too.
It insulates you. Hello and welcome to Young Turks Reloaded. I'm Shereen Bhan. We're here at the Chennai headquarters of Zoho. It is a company that has its roots very firmly in India, but it also follows what it calls a transnational-local model. It currently operates across 100 plus countries in the world, revenues of over $1 billion, profitable, and of course has always been bootstrapped with no plans to go public. What's interesting is that the IT minister, Ashwini Vaishnaw, tweeted saying that he is now switching to Zoho's Work Suite in a bid to promote Swadeshi. Joining us now to talk about Zoho's journey from here over the next few years is its new CEO, a man who took over as CEO earlier this year, but someone who's been part of the Zoho story as long as it has existed. He joined the company in 1996 when he was all of 20. Mani, many thanks for joining us here on Young Turks Reloaded. It's great to have you here, and it's great to be here at the Zoho office.
Thank you, Shereen. Thanks for coming.
You know, I want to start with that Ashwini Vaishnaw tweet saying that he's switching to Zoho Work Suite, and this is his call to everyone to promote Swadeshi, so to speak. How does that make you feel? What went on in your mind when you saw that tweet coming out?
Definitely, we are very happy and we are very delighted because it's been Zoho Office Suite is one of the first products we started in the cloud. So Zoho Writer was one of the world's first online word processor we launched, and after 20 years, seeing that getting recognized in India, right? So that's a really proud moment for us.
Is it a bittersweet moment, though, that it's taken 20 years for you to be recognized in India?
I wouldn't say that way, but because, the whole market also have saturated in that space. That means, right? So it's a part of a everyday use tool. So we know, it is going to take that long time because work competing with the giants is not easy. So that means we know when we started Zoho Writer, it is going to be a 20-year, 30-year journey. And we are here now.
Well, you are certainly here, but let's talk about the journey and let's talk about taking on the giants in your words. What do you believe will be the unique advantages that you can leverage to take on the big boys? You're not just operating in India. In fact, India is your second largest market, growing at a fast clip at over 30%. But your largest market is actually outside of India. You have data centers in 16 other countries. So you may be Swadeshi in your parentage, but your aspiration is global.
Yes, exactly. Right. So we want to really say that's why the transnational localism we are doing. So we do the product development here. We have all the customer facing and the last mile. We have a huge partner network with 2,000 partners worldwide. So we have a good ecosystem. So we serve the ecosystem and we have the local teams there and local partners there who actually implement the software for the local businesses.
So do you find yourself less vulnerable on account of this transnational local model that you've adopted to the global challenges that we're seeing today? To, for instance, this H-1B visa change. How much does that impact you, if at all?
So see, we don't see a huge impact in terms of our own numbers because we have, as I said, the transnational localism where we do have local people in every location we have and it's all customer facing. So in that sense, we don't see a big impact for us. But for India in future, we see it as a positive thing where a lot of talent will stay and a lot of innovations will happen and a lot of local problems needs local solution. That means indigenous solutions, and I think that will evolve over the period of time if more and more people start to work on those problems.
So do you believe that you could draw back some of that talent, that Zoho could become the home to the talent that would have otherwise been looking at going outside?
Yes, definitely, yeah. So some of those, because it's based on what projects we work on. So if there is an interest, definitely we are looking for tapping some of those talent. So,
we're in an AI era and you take over at a time when once again the obituaries are being written about SaaS. Everyone's saying whether SaaS is dead or not. So is this going to be a trial by fire for you? Is that the reason why Sridhar decided to become chief scientist and hand over to you?
No, see, we used to joke it inside, but then definitely, so we are looking at, AI as an enabler. So if you look at, the whole software industry itself, starting from mainframe to PC, with internet and mobile, the adoption have increased drastically. That means now everybody consumes software. It was not true in PC era, and it was not true at all in mainframe era. And with AI, it is going to be we were only consuming. Now everybody is going to become a creator. So we are already seeing so video creation, content creation, even software creation, the vibe coding is there. So, so that means we are going to have we are giving enormous power to people. So in terms of enabling them to create more.
Speaking of accelerating adoption and speaking of staying in the AI race and in the AI game, you launched Zia, which is your own version of the LLM models. And, I come back to the point that what is going to be the moat? Because look at what the big tech companies are doing. I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars going into AI development, developing LLMs and so on and so forth. So what will be the moat for companies like yours in an environment like that?
See, the way we are looking at it is we want to first call the right size the problem. That means we want to choose an area which is a niche that is solving it for the business problem. So that's why Zia LLM is only for businesses, not for the consumer.
Correct.
So because we want to take the broader problem, then that kind of an investment is required. But once we narrow down on the problem, then our investment also comes down. And it also gives us the opportunity to learn by doing because the problem in business is very different from the consumer problem. Because the business data lies within the data center. It's the same with search. When search came, the consumer search was very powerful. But within a business, the search was broken. The reason is because the tech required is very different. The data availability there, so all those. The same is what we see in the AI too. So that means that's why we narrowed on a problem which doesn't take that investment. But still,
But what have you invested so far on getting Zia out into the market?
so we have like say more than $20 million we invested in the hardware and others, and we are still ramping up our investment, but definitely not at the likes of the consumer world.
Yeah.
But we are whatever is required for solving our business customers' problem, scaling for our business customers. So whatever use cases we try to solve with Zia LLM, so how much it takes to scale that, we are investing to ensure that we scale to our businesses.
And what are the early indicators in terms of adoption? Because you've recently launched, so what are you picking from your enterprise customers in terms of how they're using it, what they're using it for, what the adoption rate is? I know it's too early to talk about.
See, if you look at our own AI story, like say Zia LLM is the recent launch, but then we have been investing on AI from say last 10 years. And even before Gen AI, we have been investing on anomaly detection, prediction, and others. And overall, if you look at, say, we have more than 16 billion API calls that happens every year for our different AI functionalities across our products. And Zia LLM itself is like, say, open for a very select users where we are still trialing on, like, say, the perfecting the model and then making sure that so it scales. So we are still in the early phase of opening it up for all the customers. And we are only solving, like, say, some of the use cases now as we grow, because we have right-sized the model.
Yeah.
So because all that we are looking for is a cost efficiency and power efficiency. So that means how do we offer the same functionality at a fraction of the cost? So in our case, like, say, we give all the options to the customers. So we have hosted some of the open source models. The customers will have that option. Then the public LLMs will be there. They have the option. We have the MCP support where you can build the agent in any public service, and then you can consume our data through the APIs. So that support is there. So that means we give all these options to the customer, and Zia LLM is going to be one of the options. And more, some of the use cases we will make Zia LLM as a default. Once we see that, the accuracy is there predominantly, then we want to actually open that as a default.
You know, at the heart of Zoho is this culture of innovation, experimentation. One of the reasons why you choose not to go public, and that continues to be the case. No temptation at all as you see companies listing to go to the public markets at all?
No, definitely no, right? Because
why? Do you think it will stifle your ability to innovate and experiment?
See, the whole, if you look at the tech, right, you can see that transition where it is like, say, every 3 years is changing, and the focus, we want to focus on building the talent pool, investing in R&D, right? So experimenting, we enjoy the process of building. And so that means we are not obsessed about, what is our growth? And we don't have the pressure to do the financial engineering. That means, right, say, we don't have to acquire companies to grow, show growth. So that's why we have organically grown all the products. Every product is built from the ground up. Every product is built on the same technology stack. We are able to do all this because we don't have those pressure. Once we get into the pressure, then say unconsciously you will start to, right, say, do things that you may not be doing. Right?
But you have a strong enough balance sheet. I mean, you're profitable, and your profits in excess of 2,000 crores, the last reported numbers. So, why the hesitation then to take that risk and also build for not just for your customers or enterprises, but also for Indian investors, India's retail shareholders as well?
So we focus on the long term, and as I said, right, say our investments towards R&D is high, and we want to keep it that way. And somehow, right, we feel keeping it this way, focusing only on customers, because, right, say we believe that business is about equal exchange of values. And today we add some value to the customer pay us. So it's a very direct transaction, right? So that means between customers and us. And adding one more shareholder, right? So then where will we be focusing on, right? So that we actually, at least for us, we feel it shifts our focus, it will shift our focus. And for now we want to, because there are a lot of problems we have identified to solve with our R&D investment, and we want to focus on that.
one of the question marks across industry has been India Inc.'s ability to spend on R&D, India Inc.'s ability to back using its own capital innovation. And the criticism has been that industry is constantly looking at the government that, give us tax sweeteners, give us incentives to do more as far as R&D is concerned. What has been the thinking within Zoho, for instance, as far as investing in innovation, backing R&D with big ticket investments is concerned? Over the last 30 years, for instance, give me a ballpark number of how much you've spent on R&D. Annually, how much do you spend on R&D?
Annually, we spend around 35%. See, let's take Zoho. So today we have 16 data centers. We have, but then if you look at Zoho itself, it started with, say, maybe 10-member team building a word processor with a small set of servers, then as we keep generating revenue, growing, so we reinvest on that. So that means, it's a very organic way of investing back. And that means the cumulative investment will be much higher, but then the initial investment don't have to be that higher if you are committed to actually reinvest on it, So still we keep reinvesting on, say, some of our profit back into newer products, newer markets, newer technologies. So, and see, the whole R&D itself, even for some of the complex technology, won't take a lot of investment. It just because, especially in software, because it's all that it requires is a very strong, committed, passionate engineers who are interested to solve that problem.
Yeah, and you told me Zoho runs on Zoho.
Zoho runs on Zoho, All our employees say every day we use only Zoho, so no other tool, Our meetings happen on Zoho, our video, audio, everything. So our spreadsheet runs on Zoho, our presentations runs on Zoho. We do 28 global events, Zoho Leaks, across the world, and everything runs on Backstage. And every presentation is done on Zoho Show. So that means, so, and it all didn't happen with, say, in the first year or 3 years. So it's and it also gives us the time to learn, because we are not, going and hiring people who have done it and then rebuilding things. So we actually, we want to keep it organically where we create the talent. So even with AI, so we want to create the talent. We want to identify people who have the ability to learn and who are willing to learn. And then we want to actually challenge them with the problems and then allow them to build things that solves the customer problem.
So what has it been like now this past year, almost coming to be a year of you as CEO? And as I pointed out, what do you now intend to prioritize?
Yeah, so as I said, from product, we are moving towards a platform, building the ecosystem and focusing on the larger customers. So if you look at our success in India, it's been phenomenal, where large customer growth is the highest. So we have good customer base, UBA as a customer, Force Motor as a customer. In both BFSI and auto DMS space, we are winning more and more larger customers. In manufacturing, we are winning more larger customers. So in that sense, this whole India success, we are trying to replicate in other markets. So what worked here, what doesn't work here. So we learned some of these here, and then we are now trying to go and replicate in other markets. And in terms of our the what I prioritize is how do we make it more sustainable growth? That means in terms of how do we make it organic too? So rather than trying to create, because it's in a business software, it's also a sort of credibility game. So that means you have to win the credibility of a customer, especially in large customers. So they somebody is betting their career on us. So the decisions, because it's not the money that is a problem there. It's the timeline that is a problem. It's the credibility that's a problem. That means we have to make sure that we win the trust and credibility. So once we do that, how in SMB it happened, the word of mouth will spread, and I'm sure we can have an organic growth there too. But until then, we want to be very careful in terms of acquiring customers. We want to be very, So wherever we have the strength, we want to make sure that we sell on our strength. So we don't over-promise. We want under-promise and over-deliver. So that's the strategy we follow.
So, India growing at over 30%, your second largest market. What's the headroom for growth that you see given the digital adoption that we're seeing, also given the growth both in the SMB space as well as the large enterprise space?
See, that's what we have, around 200,000 customers in India now, So both SMB and, And we continue to see this increasing, right? The adoption increasing in India. And at least for the next decade, we see that this acceleration will continue because of all the digitization that is happening. And as I said, as AI democratize more, like how SaaS has democratized to an extent, AI is going to accelerate this democratization. And that means there is going to be a lot more creators. And how do we, right? So we enable them. How do we, become a preferred tool or platform for them, right? So that's where we are focusing on. And I'm sure, India being the largest, because most of the even consumer products, you can see India as being the largest population adoption happens in India because of the sheer volume of population we have.
Yeah.
And that means we are going to have much larger creators in the world. So that's that's where we are investing heavily on this and the platform market, because we know that the acceleration and democratization is happening, and how do we be there?
I remember you said that you don't compete for talent. Your effort is to create talent. And this goes back to what you've tried to do with the Zoho schools. It's been 20 years for Zoho schools as well. And I believe 15% of your workforce here in Chennai comes from the Zoho schools.
Yes.
Take me through that experiment, which is now been scaled to quite an extent, and how that's worked for you. How do you look at talent? I mean, today you talk about the talent wars in the valley. You see jaw-dropping numbers being paid for AI professionals and AI talent. How do you look at the talent piece today?
See, if you look at the Zoho schools experiment itself, says from the beginning, so we used to hire, freshers, and then we used to hire from,
You were virtually a fresher when you joined.
Yeah. So I joined, and then all the hiring almost. And then we used to have these incubation programs where, because we accept the fact that, in a 1 hour interview, you can't find out who is who is good. Maybe we can evaluate their communication skills, but not the real skills, right? So that means we said, okay, somebody who hadn't done, we are doubtful, then okay, why can't we put them into incubation, and then we see. And then we saw that the results were very good. That means, so they were able to do more. And the same, then we thought, okay, then why go to a college graduate? Why don't we do it at 12th standard? And we also know, there are a lot of government colleges where there are a lot of students, bright students, who are not having an opportunity. They don't even know that these opportunities exist. So we actually picked the first batch. We picked 4 or 5 students. We trained them. So that's you see, every experiment we start small because we want to learn, do all the mistakes on a small batch before we scale. And then the first batch student who attended the Zoho schools is now heading our Saudi Arabia operations. Right? So, and he has been leading our creator platform, which is for the low-code application platform. And then now he's heading our Saudi Arabia operation. So, so we started increasing the count, because as we saw the good success in the first batch, so they are able to pick up, they are able to learn, and some things that they are able to learn faster. And so we started with development alone. Then we found that, why just development? Why not for business? Why not for design? Why not for marketing? So then when we hire, we evaluate them based on their strength. Or once they come in, we also look at their strengths, and then we suggest them to a right career path. And that's how it started. And now 15% of our employees are from Zoho schools.
So what's the aspiration for Zoho schools? As you said, 15% of your workforce now comes from Zoho schools. Do you intend to scale this up further, given the environment that we're in?
Yeah, see, we are spreading this in rural now. So that means, in all our rural offices, we are setting up our Zoho schools. So to tap the local rural talent there. And so as I said, we want to keep things organic. That means, so we don't want to scale it for the purpose of scaling. So because there is a natural evolution that happens, and we want to leave it, because see, the whole teaching staff have to, we need to train them, we need to get them. So that means there is a scaling of that too.
Yes.
So in that case, so we want to keep it, because we want to focus more on the quality and not on the quantity.
Correct.
So and then
not
we introduced
scale
the-
just for the sake of,
Yeah, exactly.
scale. But, speaking of something, another interesting experiment which was much talked about, and I remember speaking to Sridhar during the COVID period when it was starting to sort of kind of build itself out, is your hub and spoke model, so to speak, with the spokes being in rural parts of India. How has that worked out for you? And now is there an effort to consolidate some of those spokes as well?
Yes, so the whole belief there is like, say, how do we do research and development through rural development? Because for us, we don't separate this. So
So R&D has a whole different meaning
R&D
for
through
Zoho.
R&D, right? Yeah. So because nurturing talent has always been one of our important priorities, because we want to create an ecosystem here. We want to create a product ecosystem. We want to build the know-hows, whatever, for example, running the, say, infrastructure services, running the platform. So all the know-hows, if you can't build it by reading on a textbook, you have to do it to, right? So know it. So same way, now we want to do the same in rural areas. So what we started as is like, say, a lot of spoke offices, small spoke offices. Now in each of these regions, we are actually based on the number of people who have moved. So we have identified some of the hubs there. So which will actually, that's why there can be a Zoho schools there. If a spoke office only have like, say, 10 employees, then putting a Zoho schools will be not viable. Rather, you create one in Madurai, Kapalur, where we have like, say, more than 500, 600 employees now. Then putting a Zoho schools there makes sense. Same way, right? Say in near Coimbatore. So we have a 500, 600 seater there. So there again is Zoho schools. So in Tenkasi itself, we have 1,000 employees now. There is a Zoho schools. So that's how we are scaling it. And
so how many hubs do you envisage having?
Each district should have one. That's our
That's the
aspiration.
dream?
That's the dream.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you and visiting you here at the Zoho campus. We wish you the very best of luck, and thank you so much for showing us around.
Thank you, Shereen. Thanks for coming. Thank you very much.
We wish you the very best of luck. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Young Turks Reloaded. From all of us here on the program, thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with plenty more. Till then, goodbye.